Hey everyone, welcome to this week's $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles. I've already gone through them and I've pulled out what I found. Before I go through my finds, let's talk about this week's hint. There are four words that always seem to be in collectors' minds, and those four words would be price, cost, value, and worth. And nobody seems to ever talk about that kind of stuff. Price, that's how much that a person expects to get for something. If you go to a store and if you see a bill, if you go to your coin shop, there will be a price on there. The value is what you perceive is that particular item to be worth. That would be the value portion of it, how much you value having it. The cost would be how much you actually pay for the item, and the worth is what it would be worth to you to give up that item. So that's price, cost, value, and worth in a nutshell. And those four numbers should be different for every single item you purchase. That should determine whether or not you purchase that item, and it also should help you define how you sell items. Everybody is more interested in, can I buy this for $1 and sell it for $5? And they forget that it's hard enough to come by these things in the first place. I don't buy things to resell and turn a profit. I buy things because I have a job and I have money and I enjoy the things that I buy. That is why I collect. Sure, maybe sometime in the future I'll sell off some of my stuff, but I'm not in this to try to turn a quick buck. If you are, good for you. I'm not knocking you for doing it, but that's not my goal. So when people start asking, well, how much is this worth? Well, I guess the better question is, what is it worth to you? All right, that's my 1,000 in singles. Let's take a quick peek at what I found. Not a whole lot this time. I did find some trinaries. This is 3s, 4s, and 5s. Did find another one. This is 0s, 5s, and 7s. 2s, 3s, and 7s on this particular one. Pretty rough shape, probably going back in circulation. 3s, 6s, and 8s. One of those one-offs, but yep, it's a trinary. Not going to say it's a binary with one missing one. Did find quads, quad 4s on this particular one. Quad 4s again in the center on this one. Quad 8s also in the middle. Quad 8s, and it starts off with two 8s. So it's technically a trinary, 5, 7s, and 8s. It's technically 6 of a kind, 8, 8, 5, 7, 8, 8, 8, 8. But I still consider it quads, quad 8s. That is the thing that makes it important, the four numbers together. This one also starts with quad 8s. And then I got to my stars, 2013 star note. Fairly low number on that one. Maybe that'll be a good one. More stars here. This is an older one. This one's from 2003, so this has got a chance to be worth something a little bit more. That one's crisp. My older notes weren't that many this time. 1999, fairly rough shape. Well, considering that it's, a 99, you're talking 2009, 2019, 21 years old. Hey, we can buy this bill a beer. 1995 on this one. It's in a little bit better shape. 1995, not quite as good. 1985, that's getting a little better. Still not in the greatest of shape, but out of 1,000 notes, I found one. And the oldest note of the group, 1981A. So that was my finds for this week. 1981A, in decent shape. Little dirty, little bit of folds in it, but still the oldest note of the bunch. So that was this week's finds. So now let me take out something from my safety deposit box. This to me has always been one of the more puzzling things to me, especially in recent years. I think I may have shown this in like my very second video I ever did, but it didn't seem to get the views that it deserves. This is a 1934 Federal Reserve note. It is a $500 bill. They made $500 bills, $1,000 bills, $5,000 bills, $10,000 bills. They even made $100,000 bills that went from bank to bank. But I always would scratch my head thinking, what was somebody doing with a $1,000 bill in 1934? What were you buying with a $500 bill in 1934. Money had a much different value back then compared to today. I'm not trying to say how that my parents were around back then, but I always remember my dad telling me that the first house he ever bought cost $28,000, and now cars cost that, and they depreciate. So that's just literally throwing money away. So, like I said, what was $500 worth in 1934? Why was there a need for this? And more importantly, why is there not a need for this today? Now, they say that they got rid of the $500 bill starting in 1969. That's when they started recalling all of the large size notes. They started recalling them in 1969. They were worried about counterfeiting, and they were worried about the war against drugs and people circulating large amounts of currency without paying taxes on it, or whatever the case may be. There was all kinds of reasons to get rid of the large denominations of cash. But when you think about it, think about your own personal net worth. Think about how much of that is in paper money versus how much of that is in electronic money, whether that be credit cards or whether it be, bank accounts. I mean, your bank account is literally just an electronic number. It's not physical. Okay. Yes, you can go to the bank and withdraw all that money, but you can go any day of the week and withdraw money, and it wouldn't necessarily be the same money. It's just a number in a bank. But to have something physical like this, well, nowadays this would actually come in handy. I've mentioned in the past, I am a poker player. I go to Vegas quite a bit. I have put more than this amount here down on the betting circle of a blackjack table. I have played in tournaments that were 3 times this much. I have a use for denominations this big. And it is so difficult, let's say the World Series of Poker main event is $10,000. That means you have to have an entire strap of $100 bills. This is how you have to pay for the World Series of Poker entry. With a strap of $100 bills like this, you have to plant that cash down. And of course, since that's $10,000, there's all kinds of forms that have to be filled out and everything else. Whereas you would only need 20 of these, or 10 $1,000 bills, which would fit in your pocket nice and easy. But we're not allowed to have them. Think about the last car you bought, the down payment. If you had cash, you would have pockets full of cash, but I'm sure most of you simply just wrote a check for whatever down payment it was. Anyway, nowadays there's a use for money this big. Even though less of us use cash, most of us use credit cards or debit cards. But I think we ought to be bringing these bills back. Take a closer look at this one. This is, like I said, a 1934, right there, series of 1934. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and is redeemable in lawful money at all United States Treasury or at any Federal Reserve Bank. Now, this is also, as you can see here, it says the light green seal. It is the light green issue versus the dark green issue. If I put this here, you can see the light green versus dark green in the numbers, and of course in the seals, definitely 2 different colors of green. It seems that the light green seal are always the more preferred for collectors because everything's got a dark green seal now. A fairly low number, 00062104A. This one is out of New York. You can see that one there. And what really amazed me about this is it was graded very fine. It got a 30. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see, but there's a serious crease right down the center of it. There's another crease right through the center of it here. And of course, there's a lighter crease here. The bill has also been folded across this way, and under real close examination in the center, look at all the ripples and stuff that are in here. Okay, so and it's got a little bit of dirt as I magnify it. Through the B, you can seriously see the crease that went through this one. Yet it's still got a 30. On the back, that's the back, kind of disappointing. It's just a $500 number. It doesn't have the White House, the Capitol, the Pentagon. Of all the different things you could have on the back of a $500 bill, yes, I know the Pentagon wasn't in existence in 1934, but I'm just saying, of all the things you could have, the $500 bill has the number 500. Rather disappointing. I still think it's a cool bill, don't get me wrong. I'm just looking at how they graded it. I mean, look at these corners. Those corners are not sharp. That's a printer line on there. You know, all the corners are rounded. This one's dog-eared. You can see the crease there. Rounded corner there. Dirt all over it. That corner has been, damaged as well. I mean, up along the upper rim, you can see the damage here. You can see damage here. So I was amazed to see that this one was graded at a 30. Even here, there's the print line across the top, so it was miscut. I'm glad that it was graded as a 30 because now I can, I can hold this in my hand and say, yeah, it's a 30. I don't have to debate anybody on it. There it was, professional grading system. So even with all those flaws, they gave it a 30. There's the greatest argument for having your stuff graded. It doesn't matter what the bill looks like. What matters is the grade. I know a lot of people that buy coins that they think are misgraded, and they'll buy the coin and then risk sending it in hoping to get a better grade. It's a little tougher to do that with paper money because paper money always has a serial number attached to it. So if I was to cut this out, send it back in for reevaluation, well, they would know that it's been graded once already. Anyway, that is the $500 bill. Like I said, all the large denominations were taken out of circulation starting in 1969. If you are lucky enough to come across one, God bless you, because they are tough. I've got the 500. I've shown my 1,000 as well. Don't have a 5,000 yet. One of these days I'll get one of those. But that's it. That's it for this week. If you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. It's going to be a short week for me because of work. Next week's video may not have a $1,000 strap search in it, but it'll still be interesting, I promise. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.